Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Sam. I really appreciate that. Can everyone hear me okay? Great. I was going to thank a lot of people, but Sam just took the words right out of my mouth. Thanks a lot, Sam. But seriously, I just want to thank Sam and his staff, Rosie and all of them, for putting this day together. Has it been a good day? It's been a great day, yeah. And Sam, I just want to thank you for inviting me. Dr. Guerra, Mr. Davila, thank you for sponsoring my appearance. Mr. Irby, thank you for passing on that initial email that made this all possible. I really appreciate this. How about lunch? Great lunch? Great. Now, lunch was so good. Lunch was so good that it actually poses a problem for me, because my challenge is going to be to keep you all awake for the next, I guess, 40 or so minutes that I have today. But I have to say, I think I can do that. I got to tell you, I am happy. I am really, really happy. I'm happy because of the topic, and I'm happy because of where I am and where we are. Now, I know this is going to sound like a dumb question, but if I were to ask you where we are, I'm sure you would answer the way that I would answer, that we're in Texas, baby, right? We're in Texas, baby. I love this state. I love this state. I've been coming here for about the past 6 summers. My church in Philadelphia has a youth group. And for the past 6 summers, that youth group has been coming to the Rio Grande Valley, and I've been one of the leaders of that group. We've been working with families and children in the town of Weslaco, if anybody's from there. It's a little church just a block from the Weslaco Walmart. It's just north of Expressway 83 and just east of Texas Boulevard Farm Road 88. And here are some pictures of us as we're working with the children and the families. We've been coming there for the past 6 years, and we've gotten to know them quite well. So well that every year after we've left, they start talking about our coming back the following year. And I am told that in the late winter or the early spring, people start asking each other questions in that community. And they ask themselves, are those Chinese people coming back? And I was thinking about that question as I was preparing for this talk, and I said, boy, that is a great way to title my presentation. And so my presentation title is, The Chinese Are Coming. And in fact, the Chinese are coming, are they not? As Sam said, the university has been increasing enrollments of students from China and from Asia and wants to continue to do so. And that's a really, really good thing, because these students contribute a lot to us, don't they? They bring their background. They bring their culture. Most importantly, they bring their tuition. Right? Now, if we want to continue to attract and retain these students, does it make sense that we want their experience here, their stay here, to be as pleasant, as trouble-free as possible? Does that make sense? Right? We want them to have a good time here. We want them to be as happy in Texas as I am. Right? In fact, we want them to be so happy that they'll pick up the phone, talk to their friends, and when they talk about here, they'll say, 最好的大学, 最好的大学, 最好的大学. This is the best university. That's what we want them to say, right? Right? You've all seen this picture, right? And if I were to ask you what you see, I'd probably get a 50-50 response. Some of you see the, shall we say, the mature woman, right? And some of you see the younger woman, right? The point is that people can look at this picture and come away with completely different interpretations. In the same way, 2 people can have an interaction, 2 people can have a conversation, 2 people can look at a policy or an action, and one person can look at it and say, this looks fine, this looks perfectly innocent, and the other person can say, I'm offended by this. Right? So communications and errors in interpretation are a serious enough problem in one's own culture. When we're dealing with people from another culture, it becomes even more critical. And so that's what we're really going to be talking about this afternoon. And as Sam said, I had the privilege to be in Beijing for the fall of 2008. It was a wonderful experience. While I was there, I studied and I taught a class at Tsinghua University School of Law. So I got to know the students there. In addition, in my studies at Temple University, I've worked with a lot of LLM students. These are students who come from China to study at Temple University in Philadelphia, and I talked with a lot of them, and they gave me a great deal of valuable information that I incorporated into this talk. Well, let's talk about some things that we need to be aware of, differences between Chinese culture and our culture, and then some practical suggestions and tips in that regard. And first, the big thing is language. As you know, Chinese language is quite different from the English language. And those symbols that you see, like when you go to the Chinese restaurant, you look at the menu, those symbols you see, they're words, they are characters, they express ideas, they express concepts. The important thing is they are not letters of an alphabet. So what you see here are two characters, da and xue. Da by itself means big, it's a concept. Xue means study. When we put them together, da xue, it means university. Now we have the symbols. We also have a way of representing those symbols phonetically using English letters, D-A-X-U-E. This system is called romanization, and this particular style of romanization is called pinyin. So when you get students and they write down their names on your grade reports, chances are, if they're from the mainland, from the People's Republic, they're going to use this form of romanization called pinyin. Now if you look, you'll see these funny little symbols. This above the A here and above the E, right? Those have to do with the tones when we speak Chinese. Really, really important, and I'm not expecting you to be able to speak Chinese at the end of my 40 minutes, because I can hardly speak it myself. The important thing to remember is that Chinese is a tonal language. It's not just sounds, it is tones as well. And in the Mandarin dialect of Chinese, there are 4 tones. So the same sound said in a different tone has a different meaning. Therefore, when you're speaking, it's really important to get the right tone because you may inadvertently say something wrong. So if we look at this foil, we look at this slide, if I say ma in a rising tone, I'm referring to rope, like what you use at a rodeo. But if I say ma, the 4th tone, I'm scolding someone. Now, those two differences are critical enough, right? I've gotten into trouble because of the other two, the 1st tone and the 3rd tone. Ma is the 1st tone, and when I say ma, I'm addressing my mother-in-law. Now, sometimes I get careless and I say ma instead, which is a falling and rising sound. And when I do that, yeah, I think I'd better stop there. We have one intention, and the other person interprets it differently. That's as far as I'll go in that regard. Right, so we've